Welcome to this video with Walter, who is the Vice President at Huawei Corporate Communication. It's a real pleasure to have a couple of minutes with you today.
Thank you, Cedric.
As usual on my videos, you get about a minute to introduce yourself to my audience.
Fantastic. Hello, hi, my name's Walter Jennings. I'm with Huawei Technologies. I work in the corporate communications team looking after the company's global reputation. I'm an American married to an Australian, living in Hong Kong and working full-time in China. Maybe I have a little bit of background in cross-cultural communications and helping to communicate what our company is and does. So it's a great honor to be on your show today, Cedric.
Great.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, let's start off. We're here at the Innovation Days of Huawei, and one of the key things that I'm trying to figure out here is this term innovation. What does that mean to you?
Look, Huawei is a company that's dedicated to research and development. We're a 30-year-old company, and so far we've spent $45 billion in R&D.
Wow.
Just last year we spent $11 billion. That's about $25 million a day. And while a lot of people know Huawei for the smartphone, and we'll talk about that in a minute, predominantly Huawei's growth and history has been in all of the background, the network that connects your phone and the internet. So we serve roughly 1/3 of the world's population, providing them the connections that allow them to innovate.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about the key figures of Huawei, because I'll be very honest with you, before I met you, it was something that in the Central Europe, where I live, Israel and Switzerland, it's not a company that I've heard of or that is known to me. So let's get a grasp of what the figures are.
There's no surprise you haven't heard of Huawei, because until 5 years ago, this was a B2B company that really only sold to about 500 telco operators around the world.
Okay.
Today, in the last 5 years, it's grown a real high-level consumer brand through its smartphones like the P10 or the Mate 9. So for the first time in our 30-year history, we're becoming a brand, a consumer brand. But Huawei has had very strong growth. I joined the company 2 years ago, and at that stage, the company did a reported revenue of $49 billion.
Right.
Flash forward not even 24 months later, and it's up to $75 billion and growing at 30% per year. We're in 170 countries worldwide. We have 3 business units, the carrier, the enterprise, and those beautiful consumer phones.
Yes.
Now that you've heard of it, you're probably going to have trouble not hearing it.
That's correct. Maybe you can convert these numbers a little bit in sales in terms of like phones, like what does that mean?
So in terms of handsets, which is one of our 3 business lines, last year we shipped 139 million units. It made us the 3rd largest smartphone manufacturer after Apple and Samsung worldwide. We have both high-end models such as the P10, which was launched at MWC this year, all the way down to smartphones for the developing world, which are below $75 for a fully functioning smartphone. But Huawei is all about quality, innovation, as well as the brand experience.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about the outlook of smartphones in the next, let's say, 5 to 10 years. If you follow like these big influencers like Robert Scoble, they're pretty sure there's no phone in the next, let's say, 10, 15 years, there will be something different. How do you see that development, or are we going to use a smartphone, let's say, 10 years down the line from now?
Thanks for the mention of Robert Scoble. He's actually part of our Key Opinion Leader program, and I had a lot of fun with him in Barcelona this March. So within Huawei, we see that the smartphone, as we're using it, has a shelf life of anywhere from 3 to 5 years. It's just so convenient to have everything there. We now have our calendar, our camera, email, our search engine, whatever you want is all in one place. So the form itself is unlikely to change in 5 years. I was very interested this morning to hear one of the presenters at Huawei's Innovation Day talk about beyond human communication that would be able to find ways to transmit all 5 senses. So now we're able to send auditory and visual imagery, but then there's touch, then there's taste, there are all these other senses. I'm not sure where it's going to be in 10 years, but I do know that we're actually going to find more uses for the device. So a great example is I live and work in China, and I find it very awkward being here in London to have to carry a wallet. because in China, I rely on WeChat and WeChat Pay, and my phone is my wallet. My phone should be my passport. My phone should be my bank and banking account. So, currently I have a wallet stuffed with a number of different identifications for different uses. So I think what we're going to find is that we're going to centralize more and more, and whether that winds up on your wrist, on your eyes, in your ear, somewhere, there will be a device that does more for you than anything you've ever imagined today. I play a game.
Yes.
I have a 13-year-old boy, and I try to imagine what will he tell his grandchildren about how bad technology was when he was a kid.
Right.
And I come up with all of these great stories that I write down, and I know he's going to share with his grandchildren about, remember when we had to drive our own car, and we went to a beach location without knowing whether there was parking, or what the data was like in terms of the restaurant reservations, or what the tidal conditions were. All that data is there. We should know that, but we don't have it today.
Sure. Thank you very much for this insight, Walter. I really appreciate taking the time.
Thank you.
And being here at the Innovation Day. It's really interesting to see a little bit into the future and what everyone is working on. So thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in today, and have a great day.
Thank you.